Hello, Tahu here again. This video will discuss adding and editing images on the website. I've made a couple of other videos that go over the back end of the website and editing some text. I suggest you probably go through those first before watching this video. But let's say we want to edit some of the images on the website. We can go across here to Pages. If we come to About Us, and then all these options pop up around here. The only thing that we need to focus on is clicking Edit with the Divi Builder. We can ignore all this other stuff. The last thing we need to do, ever want to do, is click this Return to Default Editor. That will basically wipe all the work we've done with the Divi Builder. So just make sure that this is the only button that we click. That might take a few seconds to load. That's perfectly normal. And now we're in the back-end editing area of this particular page, and we know that because if we hover on these different sections, all these different boxes pop up. I've spoken about how these boxes work in a previous video discussing text, so I would encourage you to watch that first. So we've come down here, we've got this image here. And we can see that the way it's been laid out here, this page has been laid out in a 2/3 to 1/3 layout, so 2/3 on this side and 1/3 on this side. And we can also find that out by clicking the column structure up here for this particular row. We can see here 2/3 to 1/3. And it's quite straightforward. All we need to do is just hover on that image, click on the gear icon, and then we can see the image there. Hover on it again, and this other gear icon will pop up. And then it'll just take us to our media library where all our images are stored at the website. And it'll ask us, okay, what image do you want to swap it with? And we'll just choose this one. And we'll say yes, click this upload image, and then we'll change that image to that one. If we're happy with what we've done and we like how it's laid out, we can click this green tick to save and leave it. If we want to discard what we've done, we can just click the red cross, and then it'll go back to the way it was before. We can also just lay out images. So for example, if we want to do maybe just a row of images down the bottom of the page, if we have these little green circles pop up, that just means that we can create a whole new row if we click on them. As you can see here, add new row. So let's do that. We'll click on that, and it'll ask us, okay, how do we want this row laid out? And we want to do 4 images in a row. So we'll click that, and then it'll ask us, okay, so you want to insert some modules here, and we'll say, yeah, we want to insert an image. So we can even just type in image here at the top and click there. And I'll say, okay, we put in a placeholder image for now, but what image do you want to put there? And we'll click that gear icon again, and then again, that'll take us to our media library where we can choose which image we want to use. We can also upload files from our computer if we haven't already uploaded them to the website, so we can choose that from there. But I'll just choose one from the media library. So we'll choose that one. And we want to also put images into these sections here. So I find the fastest way to do that, instead of clicking here and adding a new module, just simply click this button here, which duplicates it and creates an exact copy. We'll do that. And when it duplicates it, it just sort of puts it on top of each other. It doesn't fill these sections here, it just puts it on top of each other. And then we can just drag these across to fill these areas. So you just hold down the mouse, and you can see that light grey box pop up. That's where we know it's going to put the image there. Again here, and a bit jittery. Cool. So now we have that 4 image row, but there's a few problems with it. It's not taking up a lot of space. It's leaving these big gaps on the right hand side. So we probably want it to take up as much space as all this content up here. So if we click on the gear icon for the row up here, and we go to design and sizing, it'll say, okay, we've got this row to take up 90% of the page. And we like the way that's laid out, and we want to make the rest of the website look like that. So we'll go, okay, cool. We'll just click out of that because all we needed to get was this information here. And then we'll go into the settings of our new row that we've created, design, sizing, and it's currently set at 80%. We just type in here 90. And then, so it's at 90%, but we've forgotten one thing. It's also asking us what's the maximum width of this row on the website. We've currently got it set to 1080, so which is a bit small, and we'll go back up here to that row and check what that's set as, and see how that's set to 2000 pixels. So that's great. So we want to make sure that we set this row to 2000 pixels. Click in here, design, sizing, and we'll click on here and we'll type in 2000 px, or I might actually just put the px for you automatically. So just type in 2000, and now we can see how it's taken up the same space as the row above it, and it looks a lot better. So we're happy with that. So we'll click that green tick. The only other thing here is, though, it's a bit close to the stuff that's going on in the footer. So maybe we want to add a bit of a gap between this row of images and what's happening down here. Again, gear icon, design. So we looked at sizing, of how much size and how much space or how much is taking up of the website. But we can also look at spacing and saying, okay, we want to add some margin between these different modules and rows. So right now we want to put a margin at the bottom because we want to put a bit of a gap between these images and the stuff at the bottom. So let's put a margin at the bottom. We'll say 200 pixels. As you can see here, it's automatically done that, and maybe that's a little bit too much, so maybe we'll just change that to 150 pixels. That looks a little bit better. You can obviously experiment with that and move it around as you like. Once we're happy with what we've done, click the green tick, or we can click out of it. We'll click that green tick. That looks good. So we've set that all up, but obviously these images are the same, so let's go in and change these to something different. I'm just using whatever for an example. And as you can see, this last one here it's a different size to these other images. So when we're adding images, just say, for example, we want to create a row like this, and we've got a whole new set of images. It's best to try and make the images the same size in pixels. So you can do that in, I think if you upload your image to Google and just type in sort of image editor in Google, it'll give you the option to upload your photos and sort of make them the same size. So these will be like, so it's a box shape, so it's probably about 1000 by 1000 pixels. This is more of a rectangular shape, so it's probably like, you can do the math on that one. But yeah, so if we want to add a row like this, we just need to make sure that our images are the same size before we upload them. Otherwise, you'll get stuff like this where they're not the same and we've got a gap down here. So that's looking pretty good. The only other thing is here, there's this big gap between the images. We want to make that a bit smaller. Again, we just need to come into our row, design, sizing, scroll down, spacing. Excuse me, it is under sizing, apologies. And it's saying, do we want to use a custom gutter width? The gutter width just refers to this sort of gap here, this gutter. And we say yes. And we can change that. So it's currently set at 3, we can change it to 2, and see how it's brought the images closer together here and close that gutter width. Or if we want to make them right next to each other, we can just choose as one. And obviously we can move that to our desired length. I think 2 looks pretty good. We also maybe want to, if someone clicks on this image, it will take them to a link. So maybe a different page on the website or another whole web page. We can do that by just clicking on link, and it's saying, okay, what's the link that you want to add to this image? And you can just, copy and paste the link from wherever, paste it in there, click that green arrow. So that's looking pretty good. We can also change that the structure. So we've got it set out as 4. We can change it to 3. We've got a 3 here, and then I'll just put that last one down the bottom there. Or we can just change it to whatever we want. So 3 and a big one here. And then we can maybe just move this one into that big spot. And again, we need to work on the image sizing if you're going to do stuff like that. But this is an example. So we'll set it back to 4. So that looks pretty good. Yeah, and the only other thing I would say is whenever we make add new parts to the website or edits, for example, it's not only the people are viewing the website on a desktop, they also would maybe viewing the website on a tablet device or a mobile device. So if we ever make any edits like this, we can just click this circle here, and then these icons will pop up, and we can just have a look at how the website's going to look on a tablet. See here, that looks pretty good. Those images are all laid out pretty well. Again, and we can look at it on a mobile, and we can see how that's laid out here. And then we can make individual edits to how it is on the mobile. For example, the spacing in between these two sections here, if we wanted to make that, to change that, go to the gear icon, design, spacing, margin, and we can just click this little icon here, and that'll give us the option to change it for the different viewpoints. So if we want to just change it on a mobile, we click that here, right in here, and we've added 50 pixels of a margin that won't show on the desktop or mobile, but on the desktop or tablet, will only show on the mobile. Yeah. And very last thing we need to do, and we can just go back to our desktop view by clicking up here. Very last thing we need to do, if we're happy with what we've done, we need to click here, save. We always need to make sure that we save it. But we also, if we're not happy with what we've done, we can just discard it. We can just click exit Visual Builder. But it'll also ask us before we leave if we want to save it or discard it. I'm just going to discard it. And that'll take us out of that editing area. And now we're just viewing the actual page of the website as everyone else who views the website is going to see it. So you see how none of those boxes pop up. We're just purely viewing the website. But we still have these options up here, so we can go back to our dashboard if we'd like, or we can log out up here. Cool, that's images. Thanks so much.